Again, we're looking at 2e on the homework on Volumes of Revolution. Draw the base area, draw the axis, reflect it, draw the circles. Okay, this was the disc and washer homework. So, is that a disc or a washer? A washer. That means I will have an outside radius and an inside radius. So, outside radius always from the axis to the outermost. Thank you.
Oh, spading and 12 meant with the other 11. So
it's fine. I'll use them. Thank you. So from the axis, there's big R. Again, maybe it's helpful to draw it more than once. Is big R changing or is big R constant? Constant. The outer edge of that thing is a constant, makes the outside of it a cylinder. So what's big R equal to? 2. Little r is changing. It's that, although we need to be careful, it's always from the axis to the curve. Is little r. From the axis to the curve. Oh, we need to be careful here. Any thoughts on what little r is? Because it's not just x. This is the x distance, right? So little r is 2 minus x. Although I'm not sure that's really what we want yet. Let's start writing the integral here. So pi integral. Remember, we can do big R squared minus little r squared as long as we have big R and little r properly defined. But is this dy or dx? How are my discs stacked up? Dy. So now that I know that it's dy, what are my limits from what to what? 0 to 8, because they have to be y limits. And that also means my r's need to be in terms of y. So big R is 2, that's fine. Little r is 2 minus x. That's not okay yet. It's not wrong, but it's not in the right format just yet. So this curve was y equals x cubed. I need to know what x is. Yes. Oh, I don't know that I'd phrase it quite like that. Y to the cube root. So either the cube root of y or y to the 1/3. Either way. So little r then is 2 minus cube root of y. And now this is the only work you need to show. On the test, I want you to put it in the calculator and give me an answer. But as far as showing your work, this is fine because you've told me what big R is. You've told me what little r is in terms of y. So this is pretty much calculator ready. That was a good one to ask because that one was dy. That's usually a little bit trickier. It had one of the 2 minus things in it, so that's a little bit trickier. So in my mind, that's about as tricky as they get. 2e. But we have time for one more. Other ones. Got some natural log, sines and cosines going on in the back. Alright, 5c. Make note of the ones I've done. 2e and 5c. Okay, y equals natural log of x, y equals 0, and x equals e for the base area. Y equals natural log of x, which looks something like that. Y equals 0, x equals e. E is 2.7-ish, so something like that. let's see, the natural log graph. Well, the natural log of e is 1, and the natural log of 1 is 0. So there's the natural log. And so our base area is that. Again, that's the same for A, B, and C, is that same base area. For C, we're going to rotate around x equals e. So there's my axis of rotation. Base, axis, reflect it, and then draw circles. So if I'm reflecting across 2.7, then I don't know where this hits over here, right? Like, very eyeballish. That's E. I don't know. I'm just going to eyeball it because I don't think it's going to matter. And then circles. If I need to figure out where it hits, I can do that later, but I don't think I'm going to need it. Okay, disc or washer? Disc. So little r, NA or 0. Be careful, don't put an x there because then, are you like xing it out or do you mean the variable x? So leave it blank, NA, 0, but don't put an x there. Big R. Okay, what's big R equal to? So what's big R equal to? Well, this curve is natural log of x, but that's a y height. I should maybe even say y equals. R is an x, not height really, an x distance. So e minus x. It's a good start. Let's start. Maybe we should have started with the integral to start with, but pi times big R squared. Are they stacked up in the x direction or the y direction? The y direction. So dy, which means my limits need to be y limits. So 0 to 1. But that also means my big R needs to have a y in it instead of an x in it. So yes, this curve is y equals natural log of x. So what does that mean x equals? How do I undo this and make it in terms of x? The fishhook thing. So e to the y, excuse me, equals x. So big R then is, running out of room, big R is e minus e to the y. Again, that's fine for showing your work. When it comes to the calculator, you'd have to put in e minus e to the y squared dy from 0 to 1, and then whatever you get from that.